So on to our next speaker. I'm just going to really introduce him as the man, the legend. Big up, you know. He's from beHuman and specializes in performance creative, performance strategy with huge behemoth brands like Disney, Opoly, and Wild. Can I welcome Josh Hedges to the stage, please? Woohoo! How do you want it, huh?
We'll stand. Let me place this somewhere. I'm not going to knock it over. Hello, Power Hour. How are we doing? Good?
Yeah.
Good. Just to let you all know, this is my first time clicking and talking, so bear with me. Yeah, my name's Josh. I run a performance creative agency, and we work with 8- and 9-figure D2C brands to help them maximize sales growth on paid social with performance ad creatives. What I want to speak to you about over the next 20 minutes is something that we do as part of our creative strategy process. That is, I'm going to say it now, it's nothing groundbreaking. It is very much marketing fundamentals, but the fact that we've followed this relentlessly with every brand we work with, I think is what we attribute most of our success to. This is a big part of our research sort of work that we do with brands that we take on. And it's what we have used to take brands that we start working with from inconsistent sales on social, unprofitable acquisition channels, and then also just pretty lackluster creatives that people don't resonate with, to lower cost acquisition on paid social, and brands and creatives that people really, really resonate with that drive people to take action. So before we jump into what that is, I think a lot of people have a different definition of what creative strategy is. So here's how we define it. Creative strategy to us comes down to how well you know 3 things. How well you understand who you're speaking to, what you're telling them, and how you're telling them. 3 very basic things. Understanding who you're speaking to, the problems that they face, the challenges that they go through, and the experiences that they live through. Understanding what you need to say to them to get them to take action. And then the fun bit, which is how do you show them these things? Unfortunately, I'm not talking about the fun bit, so sorry. But why does it matter? Why does the who matter? Most of the brands that we work with, let me unfuck this, sorry. Most of the brands that we work with or that we speak to, 9 times out of 10, people who are doing like under 50 mil a year in revenue, they do not have as good of a grasp on the who as the brands that are doing over 100 mil a year. It is one of the most important things, and as you can see from this expertly crafted diagram that I've made, the more you know about the who, the easier the what becomes, and the easier and more fun the how becomes. So how do we find the conclusive information that we need on who we are speaking to? Well, this is what I want to speak to you about today. So we do something which we call customer mining, which I think is just a tarted up term for social listening. So we go out and we'll analyze certain feedback from existing customers, prospective buyers, and people in the marketplace who suffer the problems that our product and our brand solve, so that we can understand the problems that they face, the experiences that they go through, the emotions that they feel, but also really understand the position that they're in, what dream state to those people looks like, and how we can bridge that gap with our product. So I'm gonna just rattle off a couple of places where we find all of this information. This is by no means groundbreaking. I think a lot of you will probably do a lot of this already, but I think hopefully you'll find some nuggets in this. So one of the best places that we find information about who it is that we're trying to target with our creatives is anonymous forums. So Reddit, Quora, QAnon, things like this. They are hands down the best place to find like unfiltered opinions on problems and experiences that people have. I think I don't know how to say this word, anonymity. There we go, nailed it. The anonymity of these online forums, I think, lets people talk about their experiences, the problems that they've had with certain products, or just like certain aspects of their life. They talk a lot more freely because they're not kind of tied to the construct of how they think they should speak in public, which makes it a really, really good place to pick up information that you need. So there's 2 kind of really good things that we get from forums. One of them on the left is what we call like life experiences. And then the other on the right is what we call sort of functional experiences. So what are problems that people go through? How does it make them feel? How does that impact their life? It gives us a really, really extensive sort of wealth of knowledge on what they're going through and how we can tap into that with our creative, because we know that these are the problems we need to address. On the right, you have like functional problems. So just as a heads up, this is part of the strategy for a brand we work with called Wild Deodorant. On the left, we had the emotional impact of people being told they smell bad, which isn't fun if that's ever happened to you, as you can imagine. But then on the right, we have more information on people who've tried other products or other solutions and the negative impacts that those have had for them. Both of these things are really, really insightful when you're trying to work out how do you talk to these people, what are they feeling, how can you make them not feel that. So online forums, really good place. If you're not already looking at like social listening in these places, definitely do it. The second, brand reviews, earned reviews, things that you have access to. These are a really, really solid place to find actual use cases of where your product has changed people's lives, how it impacts people, and how it actually solves their problems. And I think it gives you like earned information on what you do already, which is really useful, really valuable. We love to collect these, pick through them, find very, very cool sort of quotes that we can pull out and use in creative, using our copy that we can then address our audience with. Comments on ads and also organic posts. These are really, really cool. If someone's ever bought something for you, from you, and then they see an advert for your product, they will not relent from telling other people how good it was. And they'll go into so much detail around the kind of state changes that they've gone through, how it's impacted them. Again, really, really useful places to find information. Competitor reviews are a very, very good place to find the weaknesses in your competitors' brands, where they fall down, where you can kind of wade in and say that you are the better, superior solution. It's also really good to understand what your competitors' strengths are so that you can kind of gauge where you position yourself in that kind of battle for attention and sales. There we go. So what do we do when we have all of this stuff? We scrape tons and tons of data, we pull it together and we analyze it. Everything, the good stuff about your brand, the shit stuff about your brand, pull it all together, analyze it, and you get the objective data that you need to be able to find the most common themes of why people would need your product, what stopped them from buying it already. The most common experiences that people who have the problem that you solve share, and you can then from there just solve those problems with the product that you sell. So we used to spend a lot of time doing this, like a ridiculous amount of time. For context, the brands that we work with, we pull together something like 1,000 customer reviews, hundreds of forum posts every time we bring on a new brand, and we really deep dive into those. This used to take us a horrendous amount of time, as you can expect. We'd have stuff in Google Docs, we'd be highlighting things, highlighting quotes, highlighting experiences, and it was not a fun experience. But what we have done is we have pulled together some very cool ChatGPT prompts that we can now use to do all of this. So if any of you would like to steal this, please do. This helps us filter through hundreds and hundreds of different reviews, different comments, different things like that. This took our creative strategy process from like 4 or 5 days to under an hour. Like, you still have to spend a lot of time collecting all this data, but actually analyzing it and filtering through it to get the stuff that you need. It's very quick, so if you want it, grab it. Cool, I'm gonna skip this. If anybody didn't get this and you would like it after, let me know. So what is the result of pulling all of this data together? Like, why do we do it? Well, you end up with a wealth of knowledge around real experiences that people have had, real problems that your customers are actively trying to solve, and the real emotions that they feel in that process that you can then tap into, make creative that addresses those things. And from there, you end up with ads that they're lowering cost, they're actually helping people and solving problems that people have, and they're engaging and people want to connect with you as a brand. The caveat to this is that this is not a process or something to do on like the small scale. This is not something you can pull like 100 reviews into, 10 like comments, 10 posts. Do this with like extreme violence. The more input that you have here, the better the output. The more you can understand who, the easier what and how becomes. And again, going back to my expertly crafted diagram, if you couldn't tell that I liked this, everything becomes so much easier when you understand who you're talking to, like just way, way easier. And I believe that might be all of my slides. I don't know if that's 20 minutes. It doesn't feel like it was. But yeah, no. Cool. There it is. Thank you.